going to be briefly going over 30 tips ranging from beginning, intermediate, in-game players. Hopefully everyone watching this will at least grab some form of knowledge from this video, but mostly going to be targeted to new and intermediate players here. And so I'll continue this series based on popular demand for higher effort videos like this. Once we hit 800 likes, we'll work on part 2. So with that out of the way, let's get into the video here. Okay, so my first tip is just how good the story is. Don't be like me and skip the story. I think a lot of people in these games assume that the story is going to be terrible and you're just skipping through it as fast as possible to try to progress and get to the other parts of content. Whereas I think in this game, the story is one of the key parts of the game and adds a lot to it. So just be sure you don't skip it. Just go through it slowly, especially if you're just starting out. You're in no rush. There's a long grind ahead of you. You're going to be able to play a ton of this game. They're going to give you a lot of coffee. You'll be able to play through it a ton. No need to skip it. Just enjoy it. It's actually a pretty good story. Next tip involves re-rolling. So you get your summon controllers right off the start after World 1, I believe, and you get 40 summon controllers. So if you are re-rolling, I would recommend going for about 2 unique heroes. Assuming you are going to re-roll, that would be my... If I'm willing to go through the effort of re-rolling, and in this game it's actually pretty easy, I'm going to go for 2 unique heroes. Not going to really have any expectation on the weapons, on the exclusive weapons, because that's just, if you want to go for a hero plus exclusive weapon, it's going to take significantly longer when it comes to actually going for it. It's just that much more rare. So feel free, if you're willing to have the patience for something like that, go for the character and the exclusive weapon, but just keep in mind it's going to take a lot more rerolls. Okay, next tip, especially when you're just starting out. Keep all your accessories. So many people on my account takeovers don't neglect their accessories or don't have some of the free, really good accessories that every account should have. And I'm talking sharpshooter, golden pocket watch, ocean earring, all those things you need to have on your account. Leading into my next tip is people don't level their accessories. That is one thing. Flat defense in this game is a massive deal. They'll be like, why am I not surviving? And then I look at their accessories, I look at their shields, and they're not even touched, barely. Like they're like level 40. You know, and then the character's like level 60 something. Yeah, so just be sure to save all your accessories. If anything, save all level 3, natural 3, and natural 4-star and above in the beginning, especially when you're just starting out, because you don't know any better on what the actual good and bad ones are. We have videos talking about which ones that are actually good, but for the most part, all unique 3-star and above accessories need to be saved. Next is going to be when to focus on arena. Just keep in mind now that the game's been out for a while. To be competitive in arena is going to take a very long time. It's going to take 3 max limit broken heroes at this point, pretty much, from what I've been seeing when I intentionally fell down to like low plat, mid plat, and some of the, you know, decently higher ranks, especially if you're new to the game. Everyone has max limit broken characters. That's just par for the course nowadays, is people are going to have 3 max limit broken characters. When I was first playing the game, I was able to climb pretty hard with just 1 max limit broken hero, but that's the advantage of playing a game when it's brand new. At this point, even the people that are behind comparatively all have limit broken characters. So just keep that in mind. Don't get too discouraged that arena is going to be pretty hard for you for quite a while. And so next tip, heroes, especially in the in-game, are significantly weaker if they're not max limit broken. You need to fully invest in your characters. Having a character just 5-star but not max limit broken is a massive stat decrease or performance loss if you don't actually take them all the way, because you're gonna be like, what's a couple levels gonna actually add to my character? It actually adds a ton. What it does is it's not only adding the level stats, which are actually pretty massive, but it's actually adding a node, like an awakening node per level. So you're getting significantly more stats every single time you you limit break a hero, and let alone on that last limit break, you're going to be getting even more stats. It's a better node at the end there, so just keep that in mind and don't neglect needing to max limit break these characters. And that's going to tie into the training room, as you need to have at least 3 of them max limit broken so you can unlock the training room. Very important. Okay, next tip. So chain skills. So there's 3 different types of ailments. There's downed, airborne, and injured. And so how it works is when you put them in that ailment, there's going to be extra benefits for doing that. So if they're airborne, they're going to take 50% more range damage. If they're down, they're going to take 50% more melee damage. And then if they're injured, they're going to take 200% as like essentially true damage or injury damage from your weapon DPS. So all of those elements are very good. They also put them in a state to where they can't move. It's kind of like a CC. And then if you keep chaining, going to keep them in that state. One thing to keep in mind though, based on the enemy, there's no way to really predict this without experience, but how many times it takes a weapon skill to hit before it actually puts them fully in that state. You'll see the percentage start to ramp up for the most part in the game, every single time you use your weapon skill, it's going to fully put them in that ailment state. But later on in the game, you realize that there's certain enemies that take a lot more of those weapon skill hits to put them fully in that ailment state to where they're CC'd, to where they're actually fully downed, fully injured. And just be sure you're looking at the little percentage that's going up on whether, based on your weapon skill, if you put them in down, if you put them in injured, look at the percentage. You might be at like 40%, then you hit them again, now you're 80, and then you hit them again, now they're at the 100, and then now you actually get the effects. I think a lot of people when they're first starting out, they just assume every single time you hit your weapon skill, it immediately puts them in that ailment state, which is not true for the most part, especially the later on you go in the game, and especially with bosses. Okay, so next tip is going to be in regards to Arena and Coliseum and how they increase your stats. So I see a lot of people neglecting this, that if you look at the tooltip for when it comes to Arena and Coliseum, they actually have modifiers to how much HP you have. So in Arena, you have 3 times the normal amount of HP, but your attack and defense remain the same. And then the same thing in Coliseum. If you're in the leadership spot, you get 12 times the normal amount of HP. And then if you're in any of the other slots, you get 6 times the amount of normal HP. So keep that in mind when building your teams, that a lot of times you want your tankiest heroes to be in the front slot in Coliseum. And then the stat priorities could change, especially when it comes to survivability, is you might want to err on the side of HP versus defense, because that's going to be tripled for you in those game modes. Next is going to be the training room. The training room is a very important first long-term milestone in the game that you're going to be wanting to shoot for. This is going to keep you on track and make sure you're finishing your farms and leveling up your heroes fully. And how it works is when you get 3 characters fully evolved, then you could put a 4th character in here. You could change it if you want to, and that character will be fully evolved. Then if you get 3 characters max awakened, then you'll be able to put a 4th character in here, and they'll be max evolved and max awakened. Then if you have 3 characters that are max limit broken, max awakened, and max evolution stoned, then you put a character in and they're essentially fully maxed while they're in the training room. And if you take them out of the training room, you can either wait 24 hours or it's going to be 300 gems to be able to rush that to put someone else in. Very important mechanic in this game, and it really saves a lot of time when it comes to farming, because as you'll be well aware, it takes a very long time to level up these heroes. And this is going to be especially crucial for you build your arena team, and then you have that 4th character that's going to slot in for Coliseum, for Camazone, for all other parts of content. You'll be able to finish out your roster by only having to level up 3 heroes, even though most content needs 4. The next tip is why people run mono teams. And the reason why is when you are leveling up a hero, you can't level up multiple unique heroes at the same time based on how many stats are tied to their actual star level, because you're going to be getting more awakening stones involved with that, and you're going to be getting your party skill buffs. So if you can't level them up star wise, you're not progressing them. They're going to be very stagnant. But if you look in the Rift here, when it comes to this, there's no way to level up more than just one of these type of characters at a time. And one unique hero, you have to pick one. I was like, so I had Rerolling here, so Aleph would be the next Earth hero I wanted, but I can get 4 of these rare heroes at the same time, and I'll be able to not only get 4 rare heroes at the same time, I'll be able to get a lot more shards of them as I'm farming them. So when you're just starting out in the game and you're picking that first unique hero, those natural 2 stars you pick in its place of the same element are going to be fully maxed well before the unique hero is. So if you're ever in a part struggling to progress, you're going to have a fully maxed out 4-star unique hero, but then all those 2 stars you picked, hopefully you picked really good ones, are going to be 5-star fully. You know, if you need to, you can awakening stone them, you can get them up, fully level them up, and use them to kind of push you through content as you're waiting for that final, as you're waiting to 5-star that unique hero. So that's why people pick mono teams, and it's all going to be dependent on which hero you pull. There's no this game is purely random when it comes to your unique heroes. Yes, you can strategize and hopefully hope for the best when it comes to picking one, but for the most part, it's still going to be RNG if you actually get that hero. But based on the hero you get, you're guaranteed to get the natural rare heroes to support that character, but it's all going to be dependent on which unique hero you actually pull. So that's why people run mono teams. Another tip to add on to the mono teams is if you pull a lot of teams, especially in raiding and late game, they're going to be the same element, but they're going to be both uniques. So for example, Mayriel and Bari combo really well. What will be really nice, especially early, is you'll have all of these natural 2-star characters fully evolution stoned. So then what will happen is as you're farming Bari, all these shards are being extra. So what that will mean is you can go into the inventory here, exchange those for hero crystals, and hero crystals are insanely hard to come by, and this is really the only way to farm them, except the couple events that come through and you can pick them up here and there. So notice I have all these extra shards of Rerolling, Future Princess, and Nari here. That's going to equate to 7 hero crystals. So I can exchange it. Boom, I just got 7 there. So keep that in mind when you're leveling up multiple characters of the same element, but they're both unique. And that's what people do, especially in the beginning. They try to double down on getting multiple uniques of the same element so they can come back around and already be building and farming hero crystals while they're farming their characters, and you kind of double dip there. So by the time that character's finished, or as you're trying to fully max level break that first hero, you're at least farming hero crystals in the meantime, so you'll be able to actually do that. Whereas if you didn't have them on a team, or you have a different type of unique hero, what's going to happen is you're going to have to farm up all of those natural 2-stars again, but of that different element. So really important to keep in mind and really accelerates your progress. Okay, and then lastly, when it comes to this, is a lot of people, I noticed they will build multiple unique heroes in the start. So they'll just have whatever random natural 3-star heroes they have all in their party. That's gonna, just, I think you guys probably picked this up based on the last 2 points here, but it's really going to set you back if you just pick all your random unique heroes and throw them in your team with no synergy. You just, because you pulled them, I think it's really great that you pulled a lot of good heroes, but there's a time and place for when you can actually level these heroes up. So just stick with the last 2 strategies, put them on the bench for all, pick the best one, watch some videos on what the best ones will be, and then go from there. But you're going to really want to do this mono strategy regardless of how many unique heroes you actually pulled. There's a lot of these unique heroes that I had to put on the bench for a very long time, and some of these are my first pulled heroes, like Vishuvak I've had forever, Lon I've had forever, and I've just never been able to, I think this is literally my first hero, literally my first unique hero that I ever pulled, and I just never got around to being able to level her up because of just how hard it is to find the time to actually level these characters up. So just keep that in mind. And so then the next tip is going to be about the Guardian base camp. This is an incredibly important part of the game here. Look at all the stats you get when you fully max it out at level 300 here, which is 39.8% attack, 10.7% defense, and 10.7% HP. This is a really massive way to put yourself ahead. But how it works is you're going to need to have a lot of unique heroes and a lot of unique heroes with exclusive weapons. So the best way to farm those and just keep those in mind is don't extract them, don't get rid of them. Even if you don't have the hero, you need to keep the weapon because you need to have a collection going of a lot of these. And in the shop here, some of the best ways to farm them is going to be in the mileage shop. And every single month, you're going to want to build up at least 300 magic metal to buy this. I still buy this every single time, even when I don't have to worry about the collection bonus there. The nice thing about this is that if you buy an exclusive weapon and you still don't want it, in your case, pretty much in 99% of cases, you're going to want to keep it regardless. You're going to want to max limit break whatever weapon. But let's say you already have that weapon fully max limit broken. You're going to get all 300 of these magic metals back if you do decide to extract it. Whereas if you come here for this 900 one, you're just at a 600 magic metal loss if you don't get the one you're looking for. You can maybe argue this one if you're looking for a wide roster of exclusive weapons, especially for the Guardian base camp, and you happen to have the magic metals. You can maybe make the argument of going for one of these so you can get another one and then actually push through in the Guardian camp. But I find that very hard to justify. I would just save the magic metal, and then you're going to be able to next month get another one, next month get another one, kind of thing. So these are very important for progression, so keep that in mind. And then next, when it comes to the Guardian base camp here, is these tickets. See, I can't even do it. Either Guardian level is reached its max level, or you have enough points to reach maximum level, so I can't even use these tickets. I believe if you see my inventory, it'll show you just how many I got. Yeah, so I have 13 12-hour ones and 26 24-hour ones, and I just can't use them. These things accelerate the progress of what you get in the Guardian base camp. For me, all I get is gold because it's fully maxed, but make sure you use these. I would time them to where you use them right when you get more of these parties available, so you'll be able to double down on it. Like, so just wait. Once you get like 3 parties available, I believe warrior, ranged, and tank party all kind of open at the same time, throw all your heroes in there, use all these tickets. So it's, you don't want to save them too long. You do want to save them, but you don't want to save them too long because then later they just become completely useless. Next tip is merch. Now, you can realistically expect to get 3-star merch. Before, it was just a big random crapshoot, but I would still focus on 1 at a time in particular. The ones I really like are Sample Statue of Bravery. Then also, if you're looking for a tankier one, you can go with Smiley Face Cushion. Flat or thin blueprints are the blueprints required for that. How it works is every single blueprint has one unique merch that is associated with it, but all of the other pieces of gear all drop from any blueprint. So when you pick a blueprint, you're just picking the one that you want to farm as the unique piece there. So I've bought more thin blueprints than almost any of them combined, because I want to get as many of the simple small statue of braveries as possible for the extra 20% damage. And as you can see, I have a ton of those. These are the ones I actually really like to farm. I'm one away here from 3 5-star versions of these. And with the new pity system, it's actually pretty realistic to eventually be able to get to that point of finishing these out. So merch shop, don't neglect it. Very good. You're only getting two of these a day, but make sure you're taking advantage of them every day, because they do add up. And then if, like that's kind of the extreme version of it, the actually having a lot of the 5-star unique ones, but there's actually really good 2-star ones too. And if we check the merch inventory, I would say Mayriel's Cushion is amazing. And then all of the ones that are specific to an element, based on whatever elements you have, are actually really good too, because all the damage comes directly from leveling it up. You don't need to actually fully max it to get the most amount of damage. Whereas with this one, it's really nice that it has attack on it, but you're going to need to level it fully to get that 12% attack. So both of them are very good for free-to-play players, and they're viable all the way into the end game. So really good merch there. Another tip is just go at your own pace, enjoy the game at your own time. Don't get all stressed out about how far other people have played in this game. This is going to be a long grind, so just be patient with this. I've been playing for a year now, so of course I've been not only playing for a year, doing content on it and spending money, so of course I'm going to be significantly further than most people. But just don't get all caught up in needing to try to progress as soon as possible. If anything, we're mostly all on a treadmill here, because how these games work is they slowly power creep the characters, so your catch-up progress is going to be significantly faster. All the characters you're going to be pulling, if you're pulling some of the new heroes, are all going to be a little better than the ones I got, or I'm going to just be getting the heroes just as good as yours, and we're going to be using the same heroes down the line. So just keep that in mind if you're just starting out. And also, if you're just starting out, a lot of the systems that they implement help people that are coming in and that are new. Like Camazone didn't exist. The gold dungeon just got doubled the amount of gold you can get. So they go out of their way to make sure that they're helping out the people that are just starting to accelerate their progress and make it to where they can be relevant significantly faster. And the next tip is going to be in regards to chain skill. Just keep in mind, like I was saying earlier, about how it increases damage based on the type of ailment. But you're going to want heroes that do damage based on, or build team comps around the ones that are synergistic to the one you're getting an increased damage about. Like a lot of team comps that if you see in raiding in particular, they're all going to have chain skills that kind of synergize with the damage type that they do. We have a lot of down here. There's a lot of down damage in Future Princess Ogma. Even though MK99 is a ranged hero, she does a ton of melee damage with her chain skill. So it cuts through enemies with the Blade of Light, inflicting melee damage. Having a whole bunch of downed with MK99 is actually not bad. But then there's other teams that really focus on a ton of airborne, which is nice, heavy range teams. So just keep that in mind when you're building these team comps. And then lastly too, is notice how all of these, you got injured into down. So it needs to be injured element, and then it will move to downed element. Then this needs to be down element and goes to injured. But you'll see this square here, and a lot of heroes, especially supports, will have this. And that means it can be literally anything. Any type of ailment will switch it to, will proc their weapon skill. So these are very crucial for building team comps, and a lot of support characters have that. For example, she does, Maya does, think healers, think that. For example, Noxia, weirdly enough, has one of those, even though she's kind of like a supportish tank. Marina has it as well. So those characters get a lot of benefits because they're very splashable and very versatile because of how their chain skill procs. So keep that in mind. And then one thing about injury damage, another tip here is that you can time your chain skills. Yeah, when you look at, you have like 2 seconds to be able to do your next chain skill. So injury damage procs over time. You don't have to worry about making sure it ticks all the way down. It will always do that full amount of the damage, even if you've moved on to downed or airborne damage. So just, that's another little quick tip here for you so you don't have to worry about every time you have injury damage, you need to fully max it out to get the most amount of damage and then switch. You can just switch immediately if you need to. Keep that in mind. Oh, and then this is just another tip, especially you're going to see this in Heavenhold Tower. And then the other tower is that if you're having a hard time hitting certain enemies, it could just mean that you need a basket user or some kind of weapon that passes through walls. This is going to be mostly, not only is it weapon type specific, but it's character specific too, based on how they actually shoot it. So feel free to test it. But a lot of times if you're just in a map that you just can't do anything on because they're so high, you probably need a basket user to be able to fully clear that stage. And then there's certain stages too that are weirdly enough purely Akiyuki specific, because they have two little guard posts in your way, and Akiyuki's auto attack, you auto and you dash through, and they build puzzles around you needing her. So those are two little tips for you, that if you're ever feeling stuck, especially in the early game, and you don't know how to progress, it's because you need Akiyuki or because you need a basket user / person that can shoot over walls. Just kind of a tip that I got frustrated and I had to Google when I was first playing the game. I was like, how the hell am I going to beat this? And then I was like, oh, okay, you just need a basket. And then another tip too is how I'm playing on computer here is LD Player. This actually supports the channel, but I use this whenever I'm doing anything from power use of intensive, whether it be I'm wanting to get the most amount of damage in my raid, or if I want to play arena, I really want to play on an emulator. And the emulator I'm specifically using is LD Player, links in the description, so feel free to check that out. But that's what I'm using. Also, what you can do in this game is it actually has built in, not just because of the emulator or whatever, but it has built-in controller settings, and it supports the Xbox One controller. So if you want it, if you like controllers, I come from a heavy console background, so, and I still haven't tried the controller setting. I've been liking the keyboard and mouse, but I'm probably going to try the controller setting here. I've been meaning to do that, especially when I'm out and about, you know, at work on my lunch or something like that. If I want to actually play something, or if I need to do something for my raid, I might as well have a controller, because a lot of times I just wait until I get home to do it, because it's so much better on the emulator, but it could be just as good on a controller. So just a couple other ways to play it except on the a phone, especially like I have an iPhone 12 and it's so tiny that sometimes it makes it a little tough to play. And then here's another quick tip for you, is that not all unique heroes are useless about their EX. I'm actually going to link up a video here in the top corner about the ones in particular that I think you can actually replace their EX for now. 1.8 million gold weapons in the shop, or some of the battle metal weapons up there, but that's way too big of a video to talk about in this video, but I have already covered this, and so don't feel discouraged. Depending on which heroes you pulled, if you have a unique hero without their exclusive weapon, you'll be able to replace that and be very capable of progressing without it, especially depending on which heroes you ended up pulling. Some heroes absolutely need their EX, and they're a shell of what they could be without it, but feel free to watch that video to get more information there. When it comes to people really neglect how important defense is. It is something that doesn't have diminishing returns nearly as fast as most games do. So for example, if you have 100 defense, you get 50% damage reduction. If you have 300 defense, you get a 75% damage reduction. If you have 900 defense, like someone like Ogma, for example, you're going to get a 90% damage reduction. Like it's pretty linear in the amount of damage reduction you actually get in this game. So be sure to, if you're having trouble surviving in back to my account takeovers, a lot of people are trying to beat world 10 or world 11 and they don't level up their accessories. This is massive. Like if you look at all my accessories, they're always max limit broken. A lot of these accessories are actually very good. They don't need to be these natural 4-star or natural 5-star pieces, like accessories. A lot of these accessories you're going to get for free in the story, but later on you're going to max limit break them. This is a free accessory in Oceaneering. Eventually you'll max limit break it, but this is an amazing accessory that you'll eventually be able to fully max limit break later down the line. So keep that in mind when it comes to defense. Okay, and then another thing when it comes to accessories is, and I see this in my account takeovers, is that there's a couple types, like they put the wrong types of accessories, and this is going to take experience. The quick tip that I wanted to say is, a lot of times, just a rule of thumb, if you want to make it simple, is a lot of accessories have a base type of defense. For example, and it's going to really tell you on what kind of weapon that is. So Minotaur's Necklace at level 75, 83 defense. Okay, at level 72, Earth Necklace, 114. So the base defense of this weapon is always going to be significantly lower than Earth Necklace. So if you look at what those, if you can ask yourself why, the reason is because the trade-off is Minotaur Necklace gives you a ton of damage, whereas this one is giving you survivability and healing, and so they're always going to have way more defense base. So if you're putting on, if you look at like the base defenses of these accessories, and this is just going to take time to kind of learn it, but if you just go to the book here and you're going to be able to see all the max accessories. So if you just go through here and you kind of get an idea, okay, Mad Panda brooch, 154, Minotaur necklace, 96. That's a massive difference. And you're going to really notice the survivability amounts if you don't have that. So mirror necklace of riches can be anywhere from 76 to 122. And you can option change this to force it, you know, eventually if you get lucky, to the higher amounts. So the big thing is you're just wanting the actual capability of going to these higher amounts here. Very important when it comes to accessories. And so a lot of people, like, I'll see comments where it's like, oh, I was using Ogma and I still had this on, but you could have, you know, this on. And then there's so much more defense. And look at all the other stats that are actually defense and HP specific. Not having the right accessories is going to make you not just like half as squishy, but it's like you're going to melt versus actually being pretty durable if you don't neglect this part of the game.